everybody. Welcome back to 19 Cats and Counting. If you're keeping track, we're still at 20. We'll see. You never know from day to day. She gets that call. Things can change. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we have Cindy Longpace with us. And she has a story, and there's a story about her kitten, and she made me cry when she told me. So grab a box of tissues while we're on break and come back to hear about this. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to 19 Cats and Counting. Rita, are you here?
I'm here as usual, and I'm not catless this time. I have Boo Boo over there. He's staring at something.
Boo-Boo's a naughty boy. We'll have to keep an eye on him.
He's a naughty boy for sure.
He's the brat cat of the bunch. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And welcome, Cindy.
Hi, yeah, I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you here. I first noticed you, Cindy, because we have a lot of mutual friends in common, I think, in the rescue world. And I noticed you doing a video several months ago where you were having to medicate kittens. You had them all in the I hate to use the word cage, but that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah, and you were taking them out one at a time, and you were talking through what you were doing, and you were handling them with such authority and knowledge, and the cats were cooperating with you, and I thought, wow, this lady's really something with the cats. So I started following you, and the next thing I know, you started the Sunshine Fund, which is such a wonderful name. I love the name. Linda kind of cued me in where the name came from. Why don't you tell us how you got started with the Sunshine Fund?
The Sunshine Fund was named after a little foster. I'd taken in 6 little kittens. They were probably about 6 weeks old, 5 to 6 weeks old, and they were born on the streets, as most kittens in Houston are. Right. And Little Sunshine, I named them all after like the moon and the stars and the sun. So I have Milky Way and Moon Pie and Sunshine and Nova and a couple more. But Sunshine and another one of his siblings, Moon Pie, were starting to get really sick. Mm-hmm. And I was starting supportive care, syringe feeding, subcutaneous fluids, and just trying everything I can to get those little guys over the hump. Mm-hmm. Moon Pie passed away first, and I gave everything I had to Sunshine. I took him to the vet, and he just didn't make it.
I'm so sorry.
He passed away on my chest during the middle of the night. I sat up with him, and it just broke my heart because I just thought I could have done
Linda
more.
Going already.
Again, it's so sad. It's so sad because they look up at you with their little eyes, and they just you just. It's like, I want to help you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. And I couldn't help him. So it was after that I just knew that was my passion. Mm-hmm. Cats have been my passion, but I knew there was a greater passion. It's like Sunshine stirred something up in my heart that was there, but it was kind of just buried down at the bottom. So I knew at that point that I wanted to create a rescue, and I wanted to become a 501c3 so that I could solicit donations from larger companies, corporations, funds, grants, whatever, so that I will never be in that situation with a kitten again.
Sure.
So that's how the Sunshine Fund started.
She sounds like me with Sadie's Heart, Linda. I wrote a book. Yeah. I wrote a book called Sadie's Heart. I had a kitten with VSD, ventral septal defect. Everybody told me that the kitten wouldn't live past 6 months, and to put her down, I wouldn't do it. She lived to be just short of 7 years.
Oh,
wow. And after she passed away, it was like I was sick in bed crying for a week. I had other cats, but on that 7th day, something inside me, like with you, said, you have to make something positive out of this. So that's when I started rescue volunteering, and the rest is history. Now I have 20 cats. I already had started Just for Cats pet sitting, which this year we merged with Meowtel. I ran that for 17 years. So I already was working with cats. I already had my feet in that, but the rescue part And Linda and I talk often about we want to start a 501c3 outreach for spay neuter.
Yes.
So I so admire what you're doing, and I know how hard it is just to do the paperwork to get your 501c3 is very difficult. And raising the money, it costs money just to apply for it. People don't realize that.
And then if you mess up, you have to apply again and wait like 6 weeks to get your refund from your original application. So it's like $275 each time, and I'm on my second one.
Well, we'll be on our second one. We messed up. I actually hired somebody who came highly recommended to write our 501c3 paperwork. Well, long story short, $450 later, we still didn't have anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, let's focus on the positive side.
Yes.
So I think you mentioned Milky Way. You still have Milky Way because I see you talk about him.
I do. I have little Milky Way. Milky Way was one of Sunshine's siblings, and at 3 months old, she started having seizures. And I have never seen seizures in an animal, so as you can imagine, it was a little bit alarming for me.
Sure, yeah.
So I immediately took her to the vet, and they referred me to a neurologist because everything about her was fine. She was normal. All of her exams that the vet could do there was normal. So I took her to A&M, and they did the CAT scan. They did several tests and basically didn't find anything. So she has seizures with unknown cause. So they started her on Keppra, a common seizure medication, and she was on Keppra probably about 2.5 months, and I have slowly just weaned her off. So she is no longer on any medication.
Oh, awesome.
She is a remarkable little girl. Our family just loves her to death. She is perfectly normal in a cat sense, but she has physical. Perfect. You look at her and her little head wobbles like a bobblehead, and then her little rear end swings like a slinky.
So she's a keeper. You're keeping her, I imagine.
I think it's going to happen. So,
With those ones that need extra care, especially my mom runs the Humane Society of Lancaster, South Carolina. So I've seen her keep dogs. She's a dog person. That they could go to somebody, but they're special needs. So she doesn't want to let them go.
It's hard.
And I can understand that.
It's hard because you think no one's going to take care of them like I will.
Right.
No one's going to love them like I will.
Well, can you tell us what Milky Way seizures look like? Because after I spoke to you, I was talking to Rita, and I told her, a lot of people have not seen seizures and don't know what it looks like.
Right.
And they can look very different. My daughter had a cat that would have seizures, but it was like weird sneezing fits that just went on and on and on and on and on and on. And we're like, cat has allergies. I don't know what's wrong with this cat. So what did Milky Ways look like?
The very first one she had, I had picked her up from on top of a cage that was in her room, and I put her inside the cage. And as soon as I did, she started going in circles. She was just running in circles, like something was chasing her. And I watched her, and I thought, what is wrong with you? And so I went to her and just picked her up and held her tight and said, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Her eyes were really dilated, and she just looked like she was scared to death. And so I thought, well, that was really weird. And then I had her downstairs about a week later, and she did it again. She's running in circles. And as these seizures progressed, they would last longer. She would lose her bowels and foaming at the mouth. So they started getting a lot worse before they got better. Scary, just so hard.
That's what I was thinking. Scary, because you don't really know what's happening. Well, the second time you probably knew what was happening, but it sounds like you're presented a lot more severely.
They did. They got pretty severe, and I even told the vet at A&M when we took her, I said, I need to know now if she's suffering. If she's suffering, this isn't about me. This is about her, and I don't want her to be suffering. And he said, I don't have any indication that she's suffering. They don't remember their seizures. They don't know what's going on during their seizures.
Right.
And as long as she's eating, drinking, playing, then, she's a happy little cat, and just give her time. And he felt like she would grow out of it, which she did.
Who is that you're playing with right now?
Which one? This is probably Wes.
I thought that was the one cat. Oh, look. Oh.
This is Marsha.
Cute.
Marsha is so sweet. She's just sitting in my lap.
Oh.
West is the one that's climbing all over the place. And then I've got one chewing on my toes.
Awesome. Yes, we know about those toe nibblers. I love what you do because, we all want to take in all the cats. Then it's like vetting and yada, yada, yada. And the cat that was over my shoulder for a while there, Kismet, he was rescued in a feral colony, and obviously was not feral because he's the biggest lover on the planet. Right. And so, the woman takes him, and instead of him freaking out, he's like purring and going, "I'm in love with you." So she knew he was not feral, but she got him cleaned up, and he was FIV positive. Oh. And, the cat was underweight, had all kinds of battle scars, was FIV positive, had fleas, had, ear mites. If you could have it, the cat had it. Well, fortunately, through her organization, she was able to get him, up to par. And then she had problems getting people to adopt him because he's FIV positive. But there is a little bit of an ongoing, they tend to have teeth problems. And I think Kismet has like 4 teeth left. I'm not sure. He's had to have a lot of extractions.
Yeah, Terry she was somewhat picky about who would get him. Terry was the one that ran the rescue. And I knew Terry. And I couldn't take in another cat because I was full. So I showed his picture to Linda, and I said, "I have a cat for you, Linda." So Linda's in Ohio. I'm in South Carolina now. So she came down here to get him. And,
how far a drive is that?
I can actually know, if you remember, that's why I named him Kismet, because I fought her, and then I said, fine, but I don't have a trip upcoming. So if you can get him to me in Ohio, have at it. Well, it just so happens that one of Terry's volunteers was a flight attendant for American Airlines. So she flew the cat. And freakier of all freakies, she had a cousin that lived in Toledo, Ohio, about an hour from me, who was having a graduation party. So she flew in with kids, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this was meant to be my cat.
Yeah, because what you wish for.
I love this cat so much. This cat is he's just amazing. So, taking in some special needs cats, and other than the teeth, it really isn't much. His immune system is low. So when COVID went through our family, I didn't pet him or anything. I didn't want him to get anything. But basically, he's just a cat. He's just another cat. But if you can't, if I'd seen him out feral, I probably would have taken him to rescue. But I wouldn't have taken him home. All that care and all the things that you need. And that's, you have all these people. I think when we spoke the other night, you had a dump coming of about 9 cats, was it? Wasn't it 9 cats?
Yes. I ended up not needing to take those cats. They went to another rescue in Porter, Texas. So I was ready. I had the room cleaned out, and I'm thankful that another larger rescue stepped up, because that's my problem. Is I'm so small, and it's just me, and I do all the fostering, and
plus you've got your own cats, don't you?
Plus I have my own 8 indoor and 2 outdoor. So I'm not quite up to 20, Rita, and I don't know that my husband would really allow that.
With running a rescue like that, I don't know that you could have 20, because, it takes me a lot of time, because they need not just the litter box scoopings twice a day, but the feedings twice a day, but they all need attention and love. And then the 2 new ones that I took in, they've been here about a month now, Linda. There were owner surrender adult cats. One's a senior. I don't know anything about them, but because my mom has the Humane Society here, unfortunately the shelter knows who I am. So I got a contact. These 2 cats have been here 3 weeks. They're not doing really well. Nobody wants them. And I had just lost 2 of mine. So I had 2 openings. Yes. I wasn't planning to go back up to 20, but they needed to stay together. And so it takes time too. I've got to spend time with them, getting them comfortable. Yes. So it's like you're like having 20 because you've got the ones in foster, rescue, and then your own. So you're splitting your time into two places too. I think you've got your rescue in your home, right? But you have dedicated areas. Is that how it works?
I have 3 dedicated bedrooms that are just for cats for rescue. So I have a little maternity ward, as I call it. It's for the moms and babies. And then I have the kitty playroom where they run free. They're not
one of those.
And then I have the I'm in the process of moving cages from the kitty playroom over to the intake room. So I'm going to actually have a separate intake room so that I can keep any kind of illnesses down to a minimum, make sure that they've received their FERCPs and dewormers and flea medications and things like that before they're introduced to the kitty room, where they will be able to spend time with potential adopters in this room.
That was my next question is, how do you handle, let me ask that question when we get back from our break. I almost forgot. We have to take a break, and then I'll get back to Cindy with my next question. We'll be right back. We are back to 19 Cats and Counting, and I was just about to ask Cindy how she handles potential adopters coming to visit the kitties.
Well, I do it in my home, and so I tell people, you're welcome to come to my home. I wear a mask. You can wear a mask. I do have an adoption application. Ideally, it should be completed before the meet and greet, but I don't always do that. I like to think the best of people, and that, people that are taking the time to come to my home are, pretty serious about taking care of a kitten. So they just come up to the kitten room, and if they want to take a look at the moms and babies, they can, stop off in there first. Most of the babies end up being pre-adopted pretty quick.
Sure. Yeah, and everybody wants kittens.
Everybody wants kittens. And the kittens in this room are typically 4 months up to, I think my oldest is 8 or 9 months old.
Oh, that's not bad. So you stick with kittens mostly.
I would like to stick with kittens, but sometimes they just don't get adopted, and then they become 4 months old. And but the itty bitties.
That's still a kitten.
The itty bitties definitely work well. The only problem with the itty bitties is you have to do the foster to adopt. And that's mostly because by the time a small rescue like myself can get them vetted, a vet normally will make you wait till they're 3 pounds or 3 months. Well, by the time they're 3 months, they're not the little 8 to 10 week old kitten that everybody wants.
Yeah.
And so with this last group, I thought, you know what, I'm going to do the foster to adopt. And when it's time, when the kitty gets 3 to 4 months old, they can bring it back to me. I'll get him or her fixed, and then they can take it back. So I've even had a couple of people say, you know what, I'll just take care of it myself, which is great. I can follow up. It saves the rescue money. So that's a win-win.
That's awesome. I think that's great because people want that time with them when they're little like that.
They do.
That bonding time, like if you don't start socializing them by the time they're 12 weeks, which I know you do anyway, you are handling them, but it's really hard to socialize a kitten after they're 12 weeks old. It's not impossible, but they really need that handling. And if they can have that from their potential new adopter at that age, that's perfect.
Yeah, so it works out.
Linda, did you have any other questions?
Yeah, how many not officially your kitties do you have in your house right now?
I have, in the kitten room where I'm sitting, there are 9 that I've had for a while, and then I took in 3 this week, so that's 12 in this room. And then in the mama baby room, I have the mama who had the 4 babies, and they're all gone, but I took in a 2.5-month-old about 2 weeks ago. And so she's in there with the mama cat. And funny thing is, I saw her nursing on the mama cat this morning, which I thought, oh, how sweet. And mama didn't care. So mama cat's taking care of another baby.
Nice.
But I'm waiting for that little one to become stronger. She's not a real active kitten. She's not sickly, but she's just a real quiet, doesn't get too rowdy type of kitten, and I don't want to send her off
there. She's got no other kitten sibling.
But she's too little to be in the kitten room.
Sure.
And so I'm just waiting for her to pick up her appetite, and she's barely over 2 pounds.
Oh.
So, but of course she came from the streets as well, and when they're born to feral moms, a lot of times the moms don't have the good nutrition to pass on to the babies, and the babies tend to be smaller.
Yeah, so that was something that I didn't know. And I told Rita, I said, she brought up something I hadn't thought of, and it makes perfect sense because it's the same as when you look at human mamas and you look at the ones that had great prenatal care plus versus the ones that were poor and got no prenatal care. You have a much higher mortality rate and illnesses and problems. And so it only makes sense if a cat's living on the street, it's not spending as much time with its kittens, and it's not eating well, and all of that comes through the milk. So that makes a lot of sense. I just hadn't even thought about it before.
It does. And it's hard in rescue because those are the ones that you tend to lose. Right. The kittens that don't have mamas, and you get them, at 3 or 4 weeks old. They're not quite still bottle babies, but they're not quite strong enough to be able to eat food on its own. And then they're susceptible to illness because they haven't been vaccinated. They don't have the antibodies from the mom because mom's not healthy. Just it goes on, and that's probably the hardest thing in Houston is just the number of babies that are born outside and don't make it because of weather or animals or people. People do such cruel things
I know they do. It makes me sick.
It breaks my heart. And so I just wish that I could get every little kitten and cat off the streets of Houston.
I know.
Because it's just not a safe place.
There's a big problem here, too. I live 30 miles south of Charlotte, North Carolina. And there's a lady here just north of Charlotte, Susan Cooksey Spalding. She's with the National Kitten Coalition. And they teach people how to bottle feed because there's such a need for it. It's not a skill set I have. And I don't think I want to learn because it would just tear out my heart to bottle feed these little babies and have them not make it. I give you a lot of credit. I mean, it takes somebody really strong and who really has a calling to do that, to take that challenge on.
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, my very first bottle baby was this past April. And it was a little kitten that came to me, found on the sidewalk here in my neighborhood at about 3 days old. And she weighed 3 ounces, and I named her Chickadee.
Oh my gosh! I've seen her on your Facebook.
That's my Chickadee. Yes. So she was such a sick little baby, and she had a bacterial infection and sores on her little body. And anyway, I was up with that little kitten every 2 hours feeding her, and I was tube feeding her at certain points. I learned to do that. She had constipation. I had to take her to the vet to do an enema. I mean, it was nonstop something with that little kitten. And now, of course, she's still with me.
How do you part with that? I mean, really, how do you part with that?
You can't. I mean, you can. Ask the kitten lady. She can. But goodbye is the goal. And I learned that from Hannah Shaw. Goodbye is the goal. And it is. It truly is. But sometimes they just really attach themselves to your heart. And you just can't let them
go. We had Hannah Shaw a couple months ago, wasn't it?
Hannah
was on the podcast.
I asked her that question. How do you part with them? She said, no problem. Bye. Because I'm waiting for the next one to come in. So, she's got a good handle on that. But I know it would kill me. My motto is if they cross my threshold, they don't leave, because I tend to take I have taken in little tiny kittens. I have. Let's see, at least 4 of my kittens came to me at the age of 3 to 4 weeks old. But I like to take the older cats that they go in the shelter. A lot of them are owner surrender or they're strays on the street. Nobody wants them, so I tend to take them on and once they cross my threshold, I don't want to put them back going through another, let's get acclimated to another new home once they get comfortable here. So And my cats have been through so many integrations. I was just talking to Dr. Sally Foote, and I told her my cats they're like, oh, there's another cat. Okay, see ya. They don't care anymore.
They're so used to it. Well, and with getting seniors, you had that one little kitten that wasn't well and passed fairly quickly, and then Max was what, about a month? Max was about a month, and he knew he was old and frail.
I named no more cats Max because I've had 3 cats named Max. One when I was a lot younger, and he slipped my screened-in porch and ran away.
Oh,
Never
no.
found him. Then the next Max was the one that had the problem with the brains, the infection of the toxoplasmosis of the brainstem.
Oh.
And I had to let him go. And then Maxwell, the senior cat, that was a few months ago, and they found him on the street. Somebody died, and the family didn't want the cat, shoved him out on the street. Well, he was here with me for about a month before he passed away. So he had a good, happy month with me, but I can't name any more cats named Max.
Carrying bad juju, huh?
Yeah, no, it does has bad juju. But after he passed, that's when they called me about these 2, Missy and Scooter. So while I would love to take in kittens, there's so many of you focus on kittens. I love that. I want to keep my focus on senior, older cats, and the 501c3. Linda and I want to start spay neuter outreach, which sounds like Houston needs.
Yeah.
Everybody needs. Every city needs.
Everybody, yeah. Well, and in Houston too, it's something that I've always been a northern girl, although I'm dying to move to South Carolina. This was my goal in life. But I grew up in Michigan, and when I was 21, I moved to Ohio. So we have kitten season in the spring. But some places like Houston, there's no season. It's kitten year, right?
LA is the same way, and down here we have a little break, but there's not that much winter down here either. So kitten season all year long.
Yeah. It's Houston, and I very rarely dabble in the dog world, but the dogs running around the streets of Houston are just as bad.
Really?
It's horrible. Horrible.
I lived in Houston for a summer, but I was 16, so that's a long time ago.
You wouldn't have paid attention to the amount of strays that we have here. But as pet owners, there's just not a lot of affordable options
to
have your animals spayed and neutered. They do offer them, but there's not enough. There's not enough, I called a vet to get Milky Way a quote on getting her spayed and neutered, or spayed, because I didn't want to take her to Texas Litter Control where I was doing my spays and neuters. And she said, it'll be between $400 and $500. As a pet owner, who can afford that?
Well,
as an average pet owner. And so, no, they're not going to get their animals spayed and neutered because no one can afford it. And anyway, that's my soapbox, is that there's not enough programs to make it affordable for the average person to and take care of. And even right now, the shelters, if you find an animal on the streets, you want to take it to the county shelter, they'll turn you away and say, you got to hold it for 2 weeks. Well, who can hold strays? I mean, not everyone can hold strays. And so what do people do? They turn their eye. They just look the other way because the resources are not available to help us help them.
That's awful.
Yeah.
And
some time ago, my son had a paper route, and he's an animal lover, especially cats. And he kept sending me these pictures of these cats he'd run across on his, and nobody said you look skinny and blah, blah, blah. And I kept saying, Cameron, we can't take a stray in. We've got all these guys. I think I had 7 or 8 at the time. We're at 11 now because of Nikki. But, it's like, I can't just bring this cat in that may have heaven only knows what and put it with my cat. And all the rooms in this house are full. So, this is just not an option.
And your shelter's not taking cats anymore, right, Linda?
Officially, they're not. They have taken some in that have been dumped on them just because they won't turn them away, which I'm thankful for. But yeah, our shelter officially, according to the board, went no cats.
Well, back to the cost of spay neuter. When I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years, I lived there during a time when they finally passed the law that all pets that were available for adoption or sale had to be spayed or neutered. So right away, the vets went from $79 for a spay to $300 for a spay, except my vet. My vet stayed. The spays were $79, the neuters were $49 for cats. He stayed, and here I have a good deal too in South Carolina. My vet here, he's come way down on his price. I think it cost me $79 to have the last two.
Versus 400 Cindy's paying. I mean,
Sweetie Pie and Simba spayed and neutered, but a lot of the vets in LA, they just saw it as an opportunity to jack up their rates, and they did it. Nobody can afford that.
Well, even the Texas Litter Control, which they focus on TNR, they focus on low cost, but even for me to take one of my female kittens that I'm going to adopt out, in order to get it spay, rabies, microchip, and combo tested, which I do with all my cats.
Sure.
$136. My adoption fee's $100.
So you're losing money. See, a lot of people think too that you make money. I thought you wanted me to adopt a cat. The cat should be free. No. I'm looking up something in my email because I'm just joining a group that we're putting together in every state. They're looking for a representative in every state to make a list in each state of these spay neuter, low cost spay neuter options that are out there. With the community podcast. I just want to look up that website because it already exists, or they're just building it.
Yeah, that would help people to find it.
Oh, that's the wrong one. I have so much email, it isn't even funny.
Tell me about it.
You guys chat a little bit while I look for that.
Okay. Yeah, how great that, like I said, if I had taken, I couldn't have taken Kismet out of the feral colony, but there was somebody there to patch him up and send him on, and I paid the adoption fee, but it wasn't outrageous. I don't remember what it was. And he was microchipped and caught up on his vaccinations, and
UnitedSpayAlliance.org.
UnitedSpayAlliance.org.
Right. They're in the middle of right now getting a representative in each state. I'm going to be the South Carolina person to get together a list of all of those resources that are available in each state. So they want to be like a central repository for that information so that we can direct people and see where there's holes and there's no programs too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Texas Litter Control definitely is one of the lower cost ones, but that was my point.
Sure.
Is that even at a low cost clinic, it's still, for the average person, like to TNR, to trap, neuter, and release a feral cat is $60. Okay, that's affordable. Mm-hmm. You don't get a microchip, you don't get combo tested. It's spay, neuter, and rabies, ear tip, let them go.
Tip, yeah.
Some people have even just taken their personal animal to go TNR because it's only $60. And at least their animal's fixed.
So then what do they do? Go back and get them back later from the area? Is that what they do? They let them outside and then they go back and get them later?
No. The place doesn't let them go. You bring your animal in a humane trap.
Yeah. Okay.
So you drop them off that morning and then you pick them up that afternoon.
So they're just saying they're doing TNR when they're not.
And then you re-release them, but they're finding a way out.
Yeah. So that's just an inexpensive way. It's almost like you have to, because who can afford $300-$400?
Well, that's
as an average person.
So, Cindy, even if a cat that you've taken in has no medical problem, you're still in the whole $30-some just getting them picked up to adopt them out. And then if your cat, I know we were talking, and you were talking about two that came in together that like $3,000 between the two of them.
Yeah.
So, are you crazy? No, I'm just kidding. Why would you do it? No. So how can we help you? Because if you're going in the hole just for the basics, $30 a cat, how can we and our listeners help you so you can continue doing the work you're doing?
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I need is financial donations, as well as food and litter. Pretty much food and litter. Those are the biggest needs as far as having the number of cats.
You have a beautiful website too, the sunshinefund.net.
Yes, the sunshinefund.net. And then, of course, on Facebook, the Sunshine Fund. And as I mentioned, I think earlier, maybe not on our show, but I am still working on getting my 501c3 so that donations can be tax deductible.
Right.
Yeah.
Once I do get my 501, the donations will be retroactive back to the corporation start date, which was in November, December. So if anyone were to donate now, it still will be retroactive that they'll be able to.
So don't let that stop you. She's got a need now.
Yeah.
Donations. Yeah. And you also have, I imagine you've got a link on the sunshinefund.net to your Amazon wish list.
I do.
Okay, awesome. And we will include all those links when we post the show on Pet Life Radio as well.
That would be great.
So, even if you just afford a 4-pound bag of dry cat food, I'm sure anything is appreciated at this point.
Everything else. I used to think when I was a little kid, if a million people gave me $1, I'd have $1 million.
I'd have $1 million. Exactly. Yes.
If 1,000 people gave her $10, she'd have $10,000, right? So it adds up.
I have people who will donate, $10 or $5, and they'll just say in a message, I'm sorry that it's not more. And I will respond to them. It's a lot to me. It's priceless to me. So don't let a $10 or $5 donation think that you're not helping enough, because it's helping. It's $5 or $10 that's going towards the care of getting one of these guys ready and into their home. This is the oldest cat I have. I've had Mr. West since last July.
Oh,
what a sweetheart. Colorings are so
and they're
pretty.
getting handled and loved, so when they adopt from you, they're getting a cat that's already socialized also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Any last words before we close up shop?
I am just thankful. I'm thankful to you both, and I just want to continue doing what I do. When I tell people this, my only regret is that I can't do this full time. Right. I do have a job during the day. I work for the school district here in Houston, and I love my job, but my passion is definitely with these little fur babies and getting more off the streets.
I love that.
If everybody who's listening just donates $1, $5, $10, a bag of food, maybe we can get you to where you don't have to work to make a difference in these cat
That's what I was thinking. Well, Cindy,
you are doing such an amazing
pleasure. I hope we can have you on again to talk about what's going on, especially once you get your 501c3. And anything we can do to help. Linda Hall, thank you again for co-hosting with me. The show would be boring without you. I always tell you that. I'm kind of a straight person, and Linda's got all the sparkle.
I'm the smart aleck. Yeah, come on. Tell it like it is.
It goes without saying I have to thank Mark Winter for allowing us the time on Pet Life Radio and for all the wonderful editing he does. And just thank you so much. And don't forget, every day is Catter Day.
That's right.